Hey friends, it's Simi John. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Today I have a special guest for you. It's Jason John. Say hello.
Hello.
All right, so this week Jason and I are celebrating our 9th year of marriage. So we're going to be sharing 9 years. Can you believe it?
No, that doesn't seem like it's been that long.
It just went by so fast. So we are here to share with you the 9 things we learned in the 9 years of marriage. 9. Oh yeah, we can do this.
I'm not doing that. So.
Okay, well, all right.
Yeah.
Let's get started. All right, 9 things we learned in 9 years of marriage. So the first thing we're gonna say, I think that we can both agree on, is be thankful for the life you have. I think it's so important in today's world, especially with social media, to really cultivate an attitude of gratitude, because it's so easy for us to compare our lives, our houses, our spouses to other people's and just really feel like we got the bad end of the deal, right? And so it's so important to be thankful for your spouse and all that they do for us in our lives.
Yeah, and I think specifically, she mentioned social media, and it's ironic because this is kind of on social media, but like we look at other people's highlight reels is what a lot of people say, and so you're looking at the best part of someone else's life, even a very curated picture into their life. So it's something that they're kind of inventing and presenting to you, and it's easy for us to look at that and be like, oh, that must be what it's like all the time. And we know up here that it's probably not like that all the time. There's reality that they deal with, that you deal with as well. But without seeing that, you try to compare your regular mundane life to their highlight reel instead of embracing your life and the people that are in your life, your spouse, your children, and everything that's good that is right there. And we miss out on so much when we do that. And so I think that's so important.
Yeah.
To embrace your life and love your life and be thankful for your life.
Yes. And I think it's so important for us to have like that practical, like intentionally start out your day just like with praising God for the life you have and praising God for the family and the love that you are surrounded with every single day. So that's number 1. Be thankful for the life you have. So number 2.
Yeah, how long is this supposed to be? I talk too much. So
no, that's
is
okay.
it going too long? Okay,
no,
okay.
You're fine.
So number 2, right. Talk about communicate your feelings. And so I think that's so important. I'll say this simply, because this is not easy for guys to do, but I think the most simple way for me to say that is instead of bottling up what you're feeling, talk about what you're feeling, talk about what you are experiencing, let your needs be known, let your wants, your desires be known. Because it is unfair to assume another person knows what you're thinking. And that's going to be true for a lot of, the guys that are listening to this. It's unfair for your wife to assume you know what she's thinking or what she's feeling without having communicated that with you. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, and it was really hard because it's kind of like the way you're raised, right? Like how you grew up. That's what you're going to come into marriage with. And so I'm a emotional person. I like to express and talk about my feelings, and that's just the way I was brought up. And Jason was the opposite. And so for us coming together in marriage, we had to know, hey, this is important. This is how Jason deals with conflict, or this is what Simi needs. And so coming together from that and really communicating our feelings, we knew that was going to be essential from the very beginning, regardless of how we were raised or what our natural personality type is. We knew that we had to really find a way to communicate, whether it's right now or, okay, we're going to give it some time, give us, some space and then talk about it, but we're going to talk about this today.
Yeah.
So that's important.
It's so important to not dismiss someone else's feelings. We can totally do that, right? And so if Simi comes to me and says, when you did that, when you said that, it made me feel this way, I can very easily dismiss that, and that's what a lot of couples do, right? It'll just be like, oh, well, that's not what I meant, right? I'm dismissing the way you felt, and that's not what I was saying, and you're just taking that out of proportion, or you're blowing that out of proportion.
Yeah.
Like, that's dismissing the way she's feeling. I've got to affirm it, like, okay, I cannot deny that she actually did feel that way. She really did feel that way. So now we've got to talk about it and figure out how to move forward. Don't dismiss someone else's feelings, affirm them, and help move forward in that, I would also say. I told you I talk a lot. This is great.
So that was 2, communicate your feelings. 3, know each other's love languages. And this is so important in our relationships, and not just our marriage, but even for our children. I use the love languages, and I'm not like a personality test person. I don't do any of those tests. I don't know what my personality type is in any of those tests, but I think love languages is so important when you're in a relationship, knowing the other person's love language. And the reason I think it's so important is because you're able to serve them better. You're able to communicate and acknowledge and say thank you in a way that's impactful, and the way they appreciate it better, because naturally we tend to think, well, I like getting gifts, so that's probably what that person needs. And you buy a bunch of gifts and they just need a word of affirmation. And so it's so important for us to know what is important to my spouse. That's how I'm going to respond, to acknowledge or say thank you. And so I think that's so important.
Right. I think the biggest thing she said that's so important is other people don't respond the same way that you do, and just be mindful of that. Like, know what that is for your spouse, and that it might not be the same for you, but you've taken the time and the intentionality to find out what your spouse's language of love really is.
It tells you what to do and what not to do, how to respond and how not to respond.
Yeah.
All right, that was part 1 of our series, because my husband talks too much, so I have to cut it up. So that was part 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, like, and share this video, because we have 2 more parts coming up with more of the lessons we learned in the 9 years of marriage, and you don't want to miss it. So subscribe. Come back. Subscribe.